Hi there, Serial Trader here. Let's check in with the major US indices. Alright, so starting off with SPX. Despite all the short-term volatility we've been seeing here, my outlook really hasn't changed from Friday. Now, I still like the idea that Friday's low is the end of this smaller degree wave 2, and that we're going to be starting a third of a third wave up soon here. And well, there's not a whole lot of detail on the 1 hour here, but if I go in, and actually there's more data I'd like to show you on the futures, since a lot of this happened before the regular market was trading. So here's the futures equivalent of Friday's low right over here, okay? And then this was quite nice for nimble day trading because the patterns were still clear. So from Friday's futures low, we have a pretty clear 5 up, okay? And yeah, 4 or 5, and we'll just make that probably a very small degree minuet, sure. So we had this 5 up, and there's also a 5 up on the regular cash index as well, the SPX. If I go to 5 minute, yeah, so here's the equivalent on the cash index. All right, we had this, and you can see that gap in the third wave, sorry, in the 5th wave. But the futures fill that information in quite nicely where the gap is on the cash index. Anyways, but in my opinion, in this case, the futures just give a clearer picture because you don't have these gaps with the missing data. So we had a clear 5 up on the futures on the S&P minis here, and then we also had a clear 3 down, okay. And then it looks like we have another 5 up beginning, and I'll just get this down the degrees as well. So 5 up, 3 down, and now it looks like we have another 5 up in progress. You know, possibly a smaller 1, and then we'll have a 2, 3, and so on. But the point is that significant low of Friday has held, and off that low we've had this 5 waves up. We had a 3 wave sequence down that failed to make a new low. So I like the idea that we have a 1 up, 2 down. And now that we're starting possibly some sort of third wave, right? And remember, this is a 15-minute price chart in the futures. So certainly the short-term wave patterns are implying further bullishness. Same goes for SPX here as well. And again, even though there's missing data, so it's a little harder to get the clear wave count on it without going to the futures. If you just use a tool like this. So the low of today, or I guess it's past midnight now, so the low of yesterday, Monday, was right there. Okay, you can see that gap down open we had. And then if you just draw a parallel trend channel off the initial high to the initial low, you can see we're breaking out of that channel now. So that's kind of like a visual confirmation of third wave price action. And obviously closing that opening gap, that's also nice to see. Because if it was a real bearish gap, it wouldn't get closed. It would just remain on the price chart, right? It would be a breakaway gap to the downside, but that's not what it was. So looking quite good there. I'll just get rid of this cash index, go back to the hourly. So really looking for quite significantly higher prices here, obviously, in a strong third wave up. But we'll see how the rest of the week goes. Typically, I mentioned this in the CGC video just before this one, but typically on these abbreviated trading weeks, there tends to be a bullish bias. And also July tends to have a bullish bias. And all that aside, and you know, seasonality, typically the market doesn't usually peak out until September sometime. All that being said, though, you lean the most heavily on the actual price action, and the waves, they're clearly showing implications to the upside here at the moment. So we'll head on over to the candlestick chart. So here's SPX daily candlesticks. So this just, you saw it got into this oversold condition, and now we're actually coming off that oversold condition. So that looks quite promising from our upside. We've just had this congestion right around this 50-day simple moving average, but not really breaking down below that. On a closing basis, we seem to just be hovering around that 50. Other than this one particular, I believe that was Wednesday of last week. But now we've had not quite a bullish engulfing. We came just shy of it, okay, although really close. Let's just say it had the spirit of a bullish engulfing. Now we're still below the T-line, but we've gotten back above the 3T line. And, you know, so a decent day. Definitely needs some follow through to confirm, which I suspect we'll get. As early as tomorrow, of course, or later today. Yeah, my time's straightened out here. Okay, so that's SPX. So expecting, expecting this low to hold. So 26.91.99, and then obviously expecting significantly higher prices. So on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, similar picture. We got very oversold. Stayed oversold for longer actually, but now we seem to be coming back to life, and again just kind of finding some support and congestion around this 200-day simple moving average, and still overall finding a higher low on this larger trend. So I expect the Dow, although it's a bit of a laggard, to also still have some upside here. And the NASDAQ composite, this might be telling the picture, kind of giving the early hint of what's about to happen. So NASDAQ got oversold as well, but now we're coming off that oversold condition. And we found support right at this 50-day simple moving average, not once, but twice, if you count today, which I am. And we actually put in a legitimate bullish engulfing candlestick today, engulfing Friday's real body, no problem there. And I believe we closed ever so slightly, we could just say at the T-line, but it's slightly above the T-line. So NASDAQ, a legitimate candlestick buy signal coming off the oversold condition. That's a good implication that there's more upside to come on all three indices, really. The NASDAQ seems to be the leader to the upside, so I suppose it's only fitting that it may kick off the next leg up here with this bullish engulfing. Okay, and the volatility index, VIX. So VIX really just can't get going, which typically is bullish for stocks. Every time VIX tries to have a little breakout, it just gets snuffed out. It comes back down. And you can see we haven't broken any significant VIX levels here, despite what seems recently like a fair bit of volatility. Okay, and as far as the way I've been trading all this lately, I mean, I've just been doing some shorter term day trades on the S&P minis here, just because the patterns are quite clear. But as far as a bigger position trade, something longer lasting, if we can get back above this T-line and start convincingly getting above a couple of these resistance levels, closing above them, then I'll take a larger swing, perhaps maybe some call options, and looking for a push up the new highs here. Definitely want to see this level get taken out. I wanted to see that get taken out for a while. This 2801.90, so around that 2800 level on SPX. So we'll see what we can accomplish in this short trading week. Like I said, tends to have a bullish bias, so we'll see how it plays out. All right, Serial Trader signing off.